Imagine surviving the worst night of your life, hunted through a mansion by your in-laws, barely making it out alive, and then waking up in handcuffs, and then finding out it's happening again. Today we're breaking down a wild, brutal, darkly hilarious movie where one woman goes from nearly dying at her own wedding to accidentally becoming the most powerful person in a global Satanist cult. Let's get into it. We open outside the burning ruins of the Lomas mansion. Grace, still in her blood-soaked wedding dress, sits on the front steps watching it all go up in flames. Police and paramedics flood the scene. Someone tries to ask her questions. She has a panic attack and collapses. Inside the ambulance, Grace goes completely unresponsive. The paramedics start CPR, and as they work, Grace's mind drifts back to the night before, the wedding, the game. Her in-laws made her play hide and seek, except they were the hunters and she was the prey. Their goal was to sacrifice her in an ancient cult ritual. But Grace fought back, survived until sunrise, and the entire Lomas family exploded. After an exhausting effort from the paramedics, Grace finally wakes up. Grace opens her eyes to find herself handcuffed to a hospital bed. Detective Bassett is standing over her. He informs her she's being detained under suspicion of murder and arson. 2 bodies were found in the house, and the blood on her wedding dress? Not hers. Then her sister walks in. Faith. They haven't spoken in 7 years. But Grace had apparently never updated her emergency contact, so Faith is who got the call. Bassett gives them a few minutes alone. The moment he's gone, the sisters go at each other. Grace is hurt to learn Faith had been living near her in New York this whole time and never once reached out. Faith fires back that Grace made it crystal clear she wanted nothing to do with being a big sister. When Faith is about to walk out, Grace decides to tell her everything. The cult, the game, the husband who stabbed her, and the ghost she saw at the very end. Faith stares at her. Cut to a dimly lit room somewhere far away. Chester, elderly, frail, obscenely wealthy, watches a news report about a war. He picks up a phone, gives one quiet order, and within seconds, the news anchor announces a ceasefire. That's the kind of power this man holds. His lawyer arrives with news. The entire Lomas family is dead. The bride survived. Chester doesn't panic. He texts a select group of contacts, other powerful families who belong to the same global Satanist cult, with a single message: the seat of power is up for grabs. The reactions roll in instantly. In China, Chen Xing calls her lawyers. In Spain, Agnocio hugs his assistant in pure joy. In New Jersey, Bill celebrates by consuming illegal sugar. Yes, really. In England, Viraj finds his brother Madhu in a nightclub, and they both lose it with excitement. Back at Chester's mansion, his twins, Ursula and Titus, arrive to plead their case. They believe the seat should go straight to them. Chester reminds them coldly that's not how the rules work. When Titus begs, Chester slaps him and tells him to be a man. Then he produces the master ring, the symbol of ultimate authority, and instructs his twins to win it back. Ursula promises they will. Chester smiles and hands them a pillow. The twins grab it together and press it over their father's face. Long pause. He's dead before anyone knocks on the door. Back at the hospital, Bassett is escorting a handcuffed Grace through the corridor. Bill appears out of nowhere and drives a knife directly into Bassett's neck. He's dead before he hits the floor. Bill pulls a second knife and comes straight for Grace. She runs. Faith runs with her. Dead end. They double back, diving behind the reception desk. Bill searches methodically, checking every corner. When he looks behind the desk, they're already gone, hiding in a locked room down the hall. They wait. They watch through the gap as Bill passes. The moment he turns the corner, the sisters sprint back to Bassett's body. Grace grabs his gun. They head for the exit, but Bill cuts them off. Grace raises the gun. Bill slaps it out of her hand and drops her to the ground. He raises the knife, and then Bill's body explodes, completely, right there in the hospital corridor. Faith is screaming. Grace is covered in something she doesn't want to think about. Grace crawls back to Bassett, finds the handcuff keys, frees her wrists, and then, because why not, opens the evidence bag and puts her blood-stained wedding dress back on. In the elevator, the lawyer appears. He throws a gas grenade. Darkness. He explains calmly as they go under. Bill died because he tried to kill Grace before the game officially started. That's against the rules. Grace and Faith wake up muzzled and zip-tied to chairs in a grand council room. The lawyer opens an enormous ancient book and lays out the situation. There are 6 powerful families in this cult. They form a council. They control governments, economies, wars, basically everything. Because Grace survived the Lomas game and Bill's family was destroyed for cheating, 4 families remain. And because a bride won the game, a rare clause has been triggered. Grace is entitled to compete for the high seat herself. She's unmuzzled. The lawyer asks why she told her in-laws she had no family when Faith clearly exists. Grace ignores the question. I don't want the chair. You don't have a choice. The council controls the world. You will play. The rules are simple. Another game of hide and seek. The 4 family heads hunt her. If any of them kill her, they win the seat. If Grace survives until dawn, she wins. When Grace refuses again, they threaten to kill Faith. Grace agrees to play. Faith is unmuzzled and immediately complains about being dragged into something. After 7 years of radio silence, she's interrupted when Francesca, Agnocio's daughter, bursts into the room screaming about an engagement ring. Apparently, she used to be engaged to Grace's late husband. Grace informs her, with considerable calm, that she threw the ring at him before he exploded. Francesca has to be physically removed by her father. Titus sedates both sisters with needles. The lawyer reviews the rules for the hunters. Only family heads may hunt. Weapons must be from the era their ancestors joined the cult. Heads cannot kill each other. Twins Ursula and Titus both qualify, since neither has seniority. The sisters are driven out and dropped on the golf course. The game begins. The family heads rush for the golf carts. Every single cart is missing its keys, except one. Titus took them all. Agnocio calls them cheaters. Ursula hits him. The twins drive off laughing. The sisters wake up and discover they're handcuffed together. Grace immediately understands. The cult is using Faith to slow her down. The sisters argue but are interrupted by a drone buzzing overhead, sent by Chen Sing. Grace grabs a flagpole and waves it away. Chen Sing's voice comes through a speaker. She wants to talk. She mentions a loophole. Before she can finish, Ursula shoots the drone down. The sisters run. The twins pursue, Ursula firing as they go. Eventually, a massive wall blocks their path. They reverse direction. As they move through the trees, Faith starts needling Grace, saying she only married her husband for his money and clearly never paid attention to who he really was. Grace shoots back that Faith's boyfriend is in finance, so who's she to talk? Faith swears he was a starving actor when they met. A branch snaps. Ursula is close. They hide behind a tree trunk, and Titus appears right behind them, swinging a weapon. The sisters dodge in time. The weapon gets stuck in the trunk. Titus grabs their arms through the handcuffs and yanks them down hard. He goes for Grace's throat. Faith shoves him off. The sisters run with their arms stretched wide, swinging the chain between them like a weapon, catching Titus across the face. Ursula wants to shoot, but they're already gone. She slaps Titus in frustration. We need to win. We need to make Father's death mean something. When the sisters emerge from the woods, Agnocio spots them from a distance and readies his sniper rifle. He drops the ammunition. While fumbling to reload, he accidentally fires. missing the girls entirely, but alerting them to exactly where he is. The sisters sprint. Agnosio keeps shooting as they zigzag across the open grounds and dive into a garden lounge. Inside the lounge, Faith spots a propane tank. She cranks it open, flooding the area with thick smoke. Agnosio loses his shot. They run for the exit and walk straight into Viraj, who swings a sword at them. They burst back through the lounge doors just before Agnosio accidentally shoots the propane tank. The explosion throws Viraj off his feet. Grace catches several pieces of shrapnel in her arm. She doesn't stop running. Agnosio panics. He might have just disqualified himself for killing Viraj. He's enormously relieved to see Viraj slowly sit up. The sisters slip in through a back door and collapse against the wall to rest. Faith starts carefully pulling shrapnel from Grace's arm, one piece at a time. She keeps Grace talking to distract her from the pain. Grace opens up. She had to drop out of college, worked as a waitress for years. That's where she met her husband. Faith cleans the wounds with alcohol. Grace admits she wanted to invite Faith to the wedding. She just couldn't find her. "I wouldn't have come anyway," Faith says quietly. A door creaks somewhere nearby. They hide. Viraj passes through. Once he's gone, they slip out through a different door. He hears them anyway. The chase resumes. The sisters find the maintenance room. They spot a bandsaw, flip it on, and cut the handcuffs. For the first time, their hands are free. The noise draws Viraj immediately, but they're already moving. When he comes out into the hallway, the sisters ram a cart into him, pinning him to the wall. He fights back. Laundry items, ironing boards, hanging bags, everything becomes a weapon. Faith clubs him with an ironing board. He gets up, he knocks Faith down, throws a bag at Grace. She goes down too. Then Grace pulls him toward the opening of an industrial washing machine. Faith pushes. Together, they feed Viraj down the loading tray and into the drum. Grace hits the controls. Boiling water. When the cycle ends and the machine opens, Viraj attempts to climb out and drops dead. Grace checks his jacket. She finds his phone. In the council room, Madhu is having a breakdown. The lawyer tells him that since Viraj is dead, Madhu must now join the game, or his family loses everything. Madhu immediately tries to transfer his position to his wife, Martina. Martina threatens to kill him. Madhu signs the document anyway. Martina has no choice. She signs the book. She's in the game now. Against her will, absolutely furious. The sisters call 911 from Viraj's phone. They don't know that Ursula's family owns the phone company, and she's been intercepting all outgoing calls. Ursula answers, calm as anything, and tells them to wait at the main gate. The sisters rush through the building and walk into the casino where Chen Sing is waiting with a sword pointed at them. She puts it down. She presents the loophole her lawyers found. If Grace marries her son, Chung Fu, the family gets the high seat and Grace lives. Faith wants her to take the deal. A bed. Safety. No more running. Grace asks what being married into the family actually involves. Chen Sing is honest. Cult membership. Rituals. Killing innocent people. No deal. Agnosio bursts in firing. While the sisters dodge, Chen Sing picks her sword back up. Knowing he can't shoot her, Chen Sing turns to Grace. Take the deal or I'll kill you myself. Faith throws a handful of casino chips in Chen Sing's face. Grace tackles her, and in the spin, Chen Sing's sword goes directly through Agnosio's throat. Chen Sing stares in horror. She pulls the sword out. Too late, Agnosio falls. Chen Sing explodes. In the council room, Chung Fu explodes as well. Faith picks up the sword. Why did you say no? And because the last time I took a risk, I moved to New York and lost my sister. Faith stops walking. You didn't lose me. You left me. They stop. Everything spills out. The sisters grew up in foster care. When Grace turned 18, she received a once-in-a-lifetime scholarship. Faith was 15. She begged Grace to become her legal guardian. Grace said no. She believed she was too young to raise a minor. Her plan was to graduate, get stable, and come back for her. Faith never forgave her for leaving, and Grace never stopped feeling guilty. They argue. Grace snaps that their foster parents were decent. Faith was safe. Faith fires back. She felt abandoned. Grace, exhausted and bleeding, says sarcastically that she's happy Faith has built such a perfect life. Faith breaks. I made him up. There's no boyfriend. I don't live in New York. I work as a hostess. A long silence. Then they start gently making fun of each other's terrible lives. And for a moment, they're just two sisters. They call 911 again. Titus picks up this time. Come to the main gate. Police are on the way. The sisters recognize his voice, and Ursula's voice from earlier. They were both intercepted. The twins rush to the gate, expecting to ambush the sisters. The sisters come from behind. Faith slashes Titus with the sword. Grace takes Ursula's gun. Grace tells Ursula to open the gate, or they kill Titus. Ursula, go ahead. Titus, panicking, tries to turn the sisters against each other. Then headlights cut through the dark, a car engine roaring straight at them. Martina is driving, flat out. She hits the gate at full speed, blows straight through it, and disappears into the night without looking back. In the chaos, Titus grabs Faith. Ursula fights Grace for the gun. Faith headbutts Titus and bolts, but stops when she can't hear Grace anymore. Run. Don't stop. Ursula has Grace pinned. She drives a huge nail through Grace's shoulder. Before she can finish it, Faith tackles Ursula and knocks her out. The sisters steal the twins' golf cart and drive. Inside the house, Grace pulls the nail out of her own shoulder. It's as bad as it sounds. Faith finds abandoned bags from the resort guests. Pepper spray, medicine. Grace screams at her for not running when she had the chance. Faith brings up the abandonment again. Grace says maybe she was right to leave. Faith walks out. Grace takes the medicine with a glass of wine and has a quiet breakdown alone. She gets up, goes after her sister. Francesca steps out of the shadows with a rocket launcher. She fires it, holding it backwards. The rocket explodes in the room behind her. She's thrown forward, dazed but furious. She charges Grace directly. Grace hits her with pepper spray. Francesca turns it around. Now they're both blind, swinging at air, walking into walls, punching furniture and each other's elbows. Grace finds water, washes out her eyes. She grabs a cake topper and stabs it straight through a life-sized cardboard cutout. After several more stumbles and collisions, Grace grabs a keyboard and smashes it across Francesca's face. Francesca goes down. In the corridor, Faith is ambushed by Titus. He steps on her hand, asks where Grace is. Faith says she's gone. He headbutts her. She punches him. He doesn't flinch. He throws her around, talking the whole time, telling her the only thing she's been good for is slowing Grace down. Faith hits him in the groin and runs. He catches her, throws her again, keeps hitting. Just as he's about to kill her, Ursula appears and tells him to stop. Faith isn't part of the game. Titus turns and hits Ursula. She recovers and talks him down, pointing out the obvious. Use Faith to get to Grace. He listens. At the gate, Grace searches for her sister. Titus's voice comes through the speakers. You have 10 minutes. Come back or Faith dies. Faith's voice, don't come back. Leave me here. Grace finds a gun in the security booth and breaks the glass to get it. She goes back in. She finds Francesca waiting and puts 2 shots in her without breaking stride. Felipe signs the book and flees. Grace kicks through the council room door, gun out. Where is my sister? Kip swears he doesn't know. Felipe comes back with 2 guns and opens fire. Grace retreats to the kitchen. She's out of ammunition. She locks herself in a walk-in fridge. Then, Faith's face is slammed into the window from outside. Titus, come out or she dies. Grace closes her eyes. Then she says something no one expected. Marry me. The lawyer confirms, marriage is a valid loophole. The game ends. Whoever marries Grace wins the seat. Titus immediately accepts. The sisters embrace and apologize to each other quietly while servants prepare the room. They're cleaned up and given fresh clothes. Ursula pulls Grace aside. She admits she never wanted any of this. She's scared of her brother, says he's lost his mind, and offers to work together to control him. Titus overhears. He wraps a hand around Ursula's throat. There are no rules against killing your own family. He breaks her neck. Grace watches. In the basement, the ceremony begins. Cult members in robes, candles. A goat led to the altar. Titus and Grace both draw blood. The lawyer mixes it in a bowl and uses it to fill the ceremonial quill. They sign the ancient book. The lawyer announces, the high seat belongs to Titus Lomas. Titus leans in and kisses Grace. Grace grabs the quill and drives it into his neck. Then she stabs him in the chest, again and again. She pulls the master ring off his finger and holds it up. Killing your own family. Still no rules against it. Faith kicks Titus through the open hatch in the floor. He lands on a horn below, impaled. Grace puts on the master ring. Every cult member in the room drops to their knees. She uses her new authority to remove herself from the organization entirely. The lawyer informs the room that whoever holds the ring at dawn, 3 minutes away, becomes the new leader. Grace walks to the edge of the hatch and drops the ring into the pit full of bodies. Felipe doesn't hesitate. He jumps in. One by one, every cult member in the room, servants included, dives into the hole after the ring. Grace and Faith watch. The sisters walk to the edge and Grace throws a knife down for good measure. When dawn arrives, the entire pit explodes. Blood erupts upward. Silence. Then, a slow clap from the staircase. Madhu emerges from a hiding spot on the stairs, grinning, congratulating himself for staying out of the game. He takes one step toward the sisters. He explodes. Grace and Faith stare at the mess. Above the altar, Grace sees a ghost, the same one from before. Neither sister says anything. They collect the goat, walk out the front door, and head toward whatever comes next. Together. And just like that, Grace went from running for her life to accidentally ruling a global satanic cult, and then immediately resigning. Not a bad Tuesday. What makes this movie work isn't just the blood and the chaos. It's the two sisters figuring each other out in the worst possible setting. Every argument, every wound, every near-death moment peels back another layer until there's nothing left but the truth. Grace didn't just survive the game. She played everyone at their own table and walked away clean. Well, mostly clean. If this breakdown hit right, drop a like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments, would you have taken Chen Sing's deal or would you have gone full Grace?